Gallade is a cool guy with great design. However, since its debut in Gen 4, Gallade has slowly gone down the tiers over the years. In Gen 9 it received a huge buff. I'm going to explain why that buff led to Gallade going from being a PU Pokemon to a ban-worthy Pokemon in the 35 pokes metagame. Let's start by getting an overview of Gallade's traits. Firstly, it has a lackluster stat distribution. It has an impressive 125 attack, so you could say that Gallade is pretty well armed.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
However, 80 speed is pretty mediocre. Gallade has an oddly high special defense stat, but overall its bulk is quite poor due to low HP and defense stats. Gallade is exclusively a physical attacker since its special attack is pretty much unusable. So Gallade has good power, but its unimpressive speed tier makes it susceptible to revenge killers, especially since it generally can't tank strong attacks. As for Gallade's abilities, it kinda got screwed at first. Justified and Steadfast are just not great. Steadfast is super situational, so most of the time it just doesn't even come to play since flinching moves aren't that common. Justified is also a situation ability, and Gallade can't make good use of it. Its neutrality to Dark means it doesn't really want to take hits, and since the most common Dark move Knockoff got buffed in Gen 6, the ability is even worse. It's rarely worth losing your item in return for a one-stage attack buff. However, this all turned around in Gen 9 when Gallade was given the new and highly exclusive ability Sharpness. Sharpness grants a massive 50% boost to slicing moves, which is a huge boost compared to similar abilities like Iron Fist and Tough Claws. Not only is Sharpness a great ability, but Gallade gets incredible mileage out of it. One of Gallade's most distinguishing features is its enormous move pool, which is among the largest in the game. Within this move pool is 12 slicing moves, of which there are 26 total. When excluding the signature slicing moves, some of which are dubiously qualified, Gallade learns 75% of regular slicing moves. This makes Gallade's already excellent coverage very powerful. The scariest part is Gallade's stab combo of Psycho Cut and Sacred Sword. Many slicing moves have an increased critical hit rate, and Psycho Cut is among these. 105 base power and a 1 in 8 chance to crit is pretty scary, but most threatening of all is Sacred Sword. With 135 base power, a nice secondary effect, and no downside, Sacred Sword is a move that virtually no neutral targets want to take. With such strong advantages, it's no wonder that Gallade was such a monster in 35 pokes. 35 pokes is a community-made metagame where each month features 35 randomly selected Pokemon, save for a few obvious exclusions. During the 13 months that 35 pokes has been going, Gallade has showed up twice, those months being March and July of 2024. Gallade got banned and re-rolled in both of these months, so let's take a closer look at each month and why Gallade was too much to handle. March was the first month to feature Gallade, and it was immediately clear that Gallade was a top threat to contend with. The best physical wall in the tier was Galarian Weezing, which got cut down by Psycho Cut. Other defensive staples included Farigiraf, Swampert, Regice, Rotom Fan, Palossand, and Mesprit. With strong coverage options in Night Slash and Leaf Blade, Gallade could threaten everything. There were no safe switch-ins to Gallade since it could 2-hit KO the entire tier. As such, the most popular sets were Choice Scarf and Life Orb. Choice Scarf was fast enough to outspeed everything but Jolly and Ninjask, and had the potential to sweep weakened teams. Life Orb sets were more concerned with wall breaking, and it was indeed a cannon in that regard. Some Life Orb sets would run Agility to attempt to sweep games. What made this set so scary is that it could afford to run some bulk and an adamant nature, which made it a devastating late-game threat. Due to its immediate dominance, a suspect test was held within a week of March beginning. After 63% of qualified players voted to ban Gallade, it received the boot and was replaced by Politoed in a new era of Rain. At the time of the ban, Gallade was at a 59% usage rate, which speaks to its ubiquity during the 8 days that it was allowed. Not all players agreed with the ban, but everyone was happy with how the meta settled after Gallade was sent packing. As the 1-year anniversary for 35 pokes, July was a special month for the meta. To celebrate, players were allowed to vote for their favorite Pokemon to return from each previous month of play. So after a couple days, the 12 most popular Pokemon were added to the 35 random Pokemon for July. However, this vote turned out to be disastrous. Most of the returning Pokemon were fine, but the representatives for March and April were Gallade and Alomomola respectively. I've already gone over why Gallade is a problem, but Alomomola is a different kind of evil. With its enormous bulk, regenerator, and access to Wish and Flip Turn, Alomomola can provide seemingly endless HP to its teammates. Alomomola is largely responsible for the best of 5 final sets in April, which lasted for over 2 hours. Given that I was on the losing end of that set, I have a particular disdain for the fish. In this new meta, Alomomola could solve Gallade's biggest weakness, longevity. With its lack of reliable recovery and low bulk, Gallade is very prone to being worn down. However, Alomola's fat-ass wishes could effectively resurrect Gallade, making the two a powerful duo. With this newfound support, Gallade would go on to do to the July metagame exactly what it did to the March metagame.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Yet again, Gallade was nearly unwallable. With the right coverage options, it could break anything. Defensive options in July included Alomomola, Dondozo, Chestnut, Ferrothorn, Porygon 2, Gudra, and Rotom Heat. Sacred Sword was particularly devastating in July due to the limited resistances to it, especially since almost all of them could be dropped by Psycho Cut and Night Slash. The situation got so bad that people began to use physically defensive Galarian Rapidash due to its ability to resist Gallade's stabs without being weak to Night Slash. Gallade could have adapted to this set by running Poison Jab, but it never got the chance. A double suspect test was held on Gallade and Alomomola, meaning that either both would be banned or neither would get the boot. On July 10th, Gallade and Alomomola were both banned, with a convincing 75% of voters choosing to ban them. Their reign of terror was so strong that even 2 weeks later, Gallade and Mola remained the 4th and 5th most used Pokemon in July. So that's where we stand today. There's been some talk among the newly formed 35 Pokes Council of permanently banning Gallade from the rollable pool of Pokemon so its sword shed no more blood, but that discussion is ongoing. All it took was one buff for Gallade to go from a decent PO Pokemon to something with such devastating power that I'd get banned from a niche metagame twice. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing, otherwise I will send Gallade to your home and he is equipped with the right coverage to OHKO you. If you're interested in 35 Pokes, you can join the Discord server by using the link in the description. Here's some other videos that I made about 35 Pokes, and Gallade urges that you watch them. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.